Okay, you've seen my update on my Michael Jordan hierarchy collection for tier 4 and tier 3. It was a lot of cards, it was a lot to digest. Now we're narrowing it down. Today we're going to talk about where I'm at on my tier 2 hierarchy. We're looking at 54 cards. We're going to see which ones I have, which ones I don't have, which ones I'm looking for. And we're going to talk about the availability of some of these cards because, as you guys know, the higher up you get in the hierarchy approaching that tier 1, it's not just about how expensive the cards are. It's about actually putting your fingers on them. It's about locating the cards. So we're going to talk about a couple of cards that have eluded me for various reasons, and maybe a couple of cards that are next on my list for tier 2 in the Michael Jordan hierarchy project. Enjoy the video.
CY Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data. We know what you want because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors. Card Ladder. Join the innovators, not the imitators.
Hey guys, Bryan with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana, and it's time to talk about tier 2 as we did in tier 4 and in tier 3. I've got a screen share over here. We won't waste too much time. This is a very me-centric video. It's just talking through some really cool MJ cards in tier 2, right? We know that's 2 pages of 27 cards, 6 rows of 9 total. As in the prior videos, the cards that I own are marked with an X. If it's a yellow X, that means I own the card in a gem mint condition, either a BGS 9.5 or a PSA 10. You guys know I am an equal grading company owner, collector, right? Or at least PSA and BGS equal opportunity. I'll take a BGS 9.5 min gem all day long and still slightly prefer that over a PSA 9 copy. Of course, PSA 10 is the king of the hill, and the margin between the PSA 10s and every other grade below it, even PSA 9s and BGS 9.5s, continues to grow, believe it or not, as we look at these auction results for Jordan PSA 10s on Fanatics Collect weekly auction recaps every Monday morning and the alt weekly auction recaps every Friday morning. So looking at this page, obviously, we'll start with the Noise Boys up there. The card that you see, we're going left to right, top row. The Jordan Platinum Medallion is the first card that I want to talk about, and I want to get into a little bit of detail on the card. This card right here we're talking about is a card that's eluded me. This is a card that a lot of people, when the Hierarchy Project first came out, they're like, man, that's a tier 1 card. And you know what? It probably should be. This card is probably a bigger card than some of the Legacy Collection cards. Some people might even say it's a bigger card than the Slam Bams. But let's take a little bit of a closer look. It's been graded 64 times ever in 27 years. 64 times the card's been graded. The gem rate's actually not that bad at a combined 17%. But if you're talking about gems for this card, you're really looking at 11. There are 11 gems out there. I would love to pick this card up in a PSA 9 or a PSA 8. If a gem presents itself, sure, yeah, I guess I would look at it. But the problem is the last PSA 8 sold for $28,800. That was this month in October. $28,800 for this PSA 8 copy right there. So who knows what a 9 or a BGS 9.5 would cost if it came to market today. If you want to look at the highest price ever paid, well, there's the answer. On a PSA 9 sold in 2022. Now, here's the tricky part. You always got to look closely. This is what? Jersey number. Okay, so it's jersey number 23 out of 100. That's freakish. That's going to cause that price to spike inorganically. So other than the jersey number, let's look at this BGS 9.5. It's a $100,000 card. A $100,000 tier 2 card, and it's not a PSA 10. So just let that sink in. That's why I wanted to kind of explain to everybody. Just because a card is in a lower tier doesn't mean, this is a 6-figure card in PSA 10. It's probably going to sell for 100 grand in PSA 10. Unquestionably, it would sell for 100 grand in PSA 10. What am I saying? There's only a couple of them out there. What do we say? There's 3 of them out there. If one of those showed up, all hell would break loose. Even in 2021, the BGS 9.5 Card Ladder seems to think it was worth $97,000 in 2022 and would sell for $54,000 today. I'm not sure I'm with Card Ladder on that. They have a 1 bar on the confidence meter. I think that card would probably push right back to the 97,000. That's just my personal opinion. So that's kind of one card that's really, that might be the next card on my radar. And again, I'm probably thinking more in the PSA 8 range just to kind of check that off and put a nice white X on it. 2 cards I've put off are these vintage 61s, the classics. I just don't think they're good looking cards. I never have. You guys know me. I'm not a retro card collector, and these cards are trying to look like something that occurred in the past. And to my knowledge, that, in at least the way it works in my, Cajun dictionary, that's a retro card. And so these cards, I put them in tier 2 of the hierarchy because they are important, because they are serial number to 61, and that's a damn low number for a Jordan card from the 90s. But they just don't really, tickle me. They just don't. So I've kind of put those on the back burner, like a couple other cards that we're going to talk about that are in tier 2 that I've kind of put on the back burner. The next one that I don't have is the BAMs. The BAMs right here is serial number to 250. I do have the Slam BAMs, which is serial number to 100, which is a much bigger tier 1 card, but I don't have the BAMs in the 250. That is a card I would take in any grade. And then this, Jordan's first ever insert. This just brings tears to my eyes because I know, if you guys watch the channel, I recently sold my tier 1 86 Fleer, PSA 10, and I sold my tier 2 86 Fleer PSA 10 sticker. And so I no longer have a gold X on these. That was a step sideways to pick up some other really big Michael Jordan cards, 3 non-hierarchy cards, 3 Jordan patch cards from the 90s, believe it or not. Moving to the bottom row, and this is just right here. This is a Phantom, man. This is a card. It's just like a ninja dropping one of those smoke bombs and disappearing. Good luck finding a real and authentic Thunder Super Rave. It's just not out there. They're serial number to 25, so they're rare to begin with. The ones that you do see most often are fake. They're counterfeits. This is a card that is often counterfeited. Be very careful if you see one of these, serial number to 25. Don't assume it's real. The Thunder and Lightning is probably the most likely next card that I pick up in tier 2. If I had to really put a number on it, I would say this Thunder and Lightning is the most likely card that I will pick up next in tier 2. I do have that pulled up right here. A PSA 10 is just, what are you going to do here? There's your PSA 10. It dropped to 24,600. The card was 43, 35, dropped all the way down to 24. It's a pop 15. It's not the rarest card in the world. It's been graded almost 300 times, over 300 if you include SGC. The gem rate is actually also not as bad as I thought. A BGS 9.5, I would love that, but that's a pop 2, so there might even be a premium on that. PSA 9 is the price that I'm thinking. This PSA 9 copy has not sold in 2 full years. That's a pop 11. That's how rare those cards are. PSA is very tough on grading these cards. A PSA 8 is running. It is off to the races. If the PSA 8 has risen from 1,900 to 4,000, then I'm going to go ahead and guess a PSA 9 is going to probably be about 10 grand, maybe 12 grand, something like that. I don't know. I think Card Ladder guessed maybe 11 grand. I think that's probably close, man, because it's only a pop 11 with only 3 PSA 10s. The BGS 9.5 is what I would love. A BGS 9 has recently sold for 7,200. If a BGS 9 is 7,200, I think a PSA 9 is easily going to be 12, maybe 13, 15,000, something like that. So not an easy card to pick up, not a cheap card to pick up. But it is the most likely next card. My guess is it's going to be a PSA 8. That's probably the grade that I'm going to end up going for. So that kind of does it for page 1. Obviously, some of these cards, I'm really excited to have with a gold X. I mean, it's just tough to find, the 93 Jordan's first refractor right here in BGS 9.5. I've got a PSA 10 Scoring Kings, a PSA 10 Star Power Supreme, PSA 10, BGS 9.5 Intimidation Nation, BGS 9.5 Hot Shots, PSA 10 Diamond Dimensions, BGS 9.5 Platinum Portraits, and then I picked this one up. This is probably the most recent card I've picked up on this page. And by the way, this Super Rave Jordan right here was a big pickup as well. So that's a serial number 250 card, I think. I own it in a PSA 6. And then down here, this is that orange test refractor, which I was happy to pick up, I believe in a PSA 8 of that card. So let's move on to the second page of Tier 2. This is page 3, Tier 2. And so we've got, the first card that's going to stand out is this card that my son drew when he was 4 years old. This Prism Jewel sticker. There's a big box. There's a small box. I make no distinction in the hierarchy. It's just all boxes are the same, I'm not going to go anywhere with that. This is the Prism Jewel. For the same reason that I put off, well, it's not the same reason, because the 61 Classic 61s, where I treat them almost, I just sort of feel like they're retro cards. So they don't really, call to me. This one doesn't call to me just because it's ugly and dumb, and I just hate this card. I know it's important. I know it's early. I know it's weird. I know it's got a story. I know there's different variations. I know all sorts of things about this Prism Jewel thing, and I gotta have it at some point because it's in the damn hierarchy, and that's just the way I'm working right now. But I've put this one off. I will continue to put that one off. The Prime Choice Reserve or Premium Choice Reserve, I can't remember what it's called, with the cracked ice little image right there. You can't really tell. That's a one for all, remember. So I don't own any of those. And that's really a card in a PSA 8 you could pick up for a reasonable number. They are serial number to 100, but there's a couple of different options in that UD Choice product. And so I should be able to knock that one off the list as well. I don't really chase it. I would like this particular card because it looks better than all the others. And I think that's the base Prime Choice Reserve right there. Moving down, we've got the Chrome, the 96 Chrome Refractor right here. I don't have a copy of that because I haven't seen a really good looking colored copy. And now I did grade one of these from the cross country collection. I think it came back in 8, and then for whatever reason I sold it. I think it was because I had a big fat juicy line of credit debt that I had to borrow to buy the cross country collection. And so I think I was just in a hurry to pay off that line of credit and stop that interest from accruing, which I did in really short fashion. So it ended up working out. But I have owned a copy of this card. I do not own a copy of this card right now. If I do purchase a copy, the grade will matter, but it will not matter nearly as much as the clarity of the color of the card. I don't want a green one. Next is the other Illuminator. As you see down here, I've got a white X here because in the cross-country collection, I picked up the T9B Illuminator in a PSA 9. It was raw. Of course, I graded it. Came back a 9. I was very happy with that. I do not own a T1B Illuminator. Let me just update you on my triumvirate situation. That's what I've called this because I'm just now noticing I have the base luminous T1B in a BGS 9.5 and a PSA 9. That doesn't make any sense. The PSA 9 needs to be sold, so I'm going to sell the PSA 9. Although this is where I struggle, and this is why I call it a situation, because you guys know I have some of these OCD tendencies. I'm not diagnosed or anything, but you know what I mean. I like to be organized, and I like patterns, and I like everything to make sense and fit, and these triumvirates are really tricky because there's 3 of each: luminous, luminescent, illuminator. And the grades are tough. I mean, you could throw out the window the PSA 10, trying to get PSA 10 in all 6 of these, because that's going to cost you $100,000 easily. And I'm not joking about that. And the reason I say that is because, I'm recording this on October 21st. Well, last night on October 20th, the T9B Illuminator PSA 10 sold for $33,000 plus, more than $33,000. If the T1B is $33,000, well, you're already at $66,000, okay? So I don't think that's going to happen in, PSA 10. So then the question becomes, do I want to try to do this in all BGS 9.5? Am I okay mixing PSA 9s and BGS 9.5s? I don't necessarily, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to kick a PSA 8 out of bed for eating crackers, but, I don't like PSA 8, BGS 9.5, PSA 9. It's a mixed lot, and I just don't do well with it. Here's the big one right here, the 97. That's my Illuminator PSA 9 with the new label that I got out of the cross-country collection. I'm thrilled with that one, and I'm happy with this one. I really like having the base T1B in a BGS 9.5 mixed gem copy right there. So I've got some thinking to do, and some, I'll figure it out, and we'll figure out where to go from there. The credentials, I think this is just a card that's overpriced. There's 499 of them, and I know that's, it is relatively rare. I get that. I thought I had that pulled up. There it is. Yeah. So I got the credentials pulled up here. It's been graded 193 times by PSA and BGS. Now here's the trick. There's only 2 10s and 2 9.5s. And the reason is, the diamond cutting at the top of the card is very, very common. A PSA 9, you're looking at 21 grand, man. A BGS 8.5, you're looking at $8,700. So this is one of those cards where I've got to, throw grade out the window, just get the copy that looks the least diamond cut. And you guys can even see on this PSA 9 copy, that is an eyesore, man. That is not good because the way the word credentials reads parallel to the window pane, it is just glaring that top edge is diamond cut right there and slanted left to right. It's just really hard to overlook that. And that's a PSA 9, so it could be worse on PSA 7s, PSA 8s. Maybe PSA 8's the direction to go. They don't even have that thing in Card Ladder. These cards really don't sell very much. The PSA 9 copy last sold for $16,800, and it's been over a year. Well, tomorrow it will have been a year since this thing sold. So here's one that's eluded me. It's a card that I really, really like the look of. You guys know I love the 96 EX2000 base card. That's a card that I think will finish in the Final Four, maybe get it to the Elite 8, Final Four in the back to basics 64 card bracket project that we're working through, that the hobby is voting on and determining. I think the base version will do very well in that back to basics, but this is the credentials, the serial number to 499. It's just really, really highly priced. I recognize the card. Obviously, I put it in tier 2 for a reason. I think it's very important. I just think that those prices are a little bit too steep for what that card is and what it represents. The next card is this Z-Pete. So a real recent pickup. I picked up the Big Men on Court in a BGS 9.5 grade, which was great. I need the Z-Pete. The Z-Pete is a bigger card. It's tougher pack odds. It's not as good looking, but it's tougher pack odds. It's really low pop, and that's what you're looking at right there. A BGS 9.5 copy is going to run you about 8 to 10 grand. There's only 25 of them out there. There's 8 PSA 10s and 25 BGS 9.5s. So I like to pair cards together that make sense. So if I have a 9.5 BMOC, I want a 9.5 BMOC Z-Pete, period, end of story. If a 9 came available, I probably wouldn't buy it. I am literally holding out for one of the 25 BGS 9.5s and willing to pay 8 to 10 grand for that card, certainly. Now, the tricky part is, and you guys know this if you watch this channel or if you've done any amount of research on Jordan stuff, is you got to be really careful with Z-Petes in BGS slabs because a big quantity of those came in from Asia, from Taiwan, I believe, specifically. And when they came in, they were counterfeit, and they all came in one order. And for some inexplicable reason, Beckett graded every single one of them, and they came back, graded. Some of them were, 9.5s, 9s, 8.5. So there's a whole bunch of counterfeit Z-Pete, Big Men on Court out there. Be very careful if you're buying that card. I will not just see one and bid on it. I will run it by the powers that be to make sure I'm buying an authentic copy before I even consider placing a bid on it. It's just especially dangerous because I'm looking for a BGS copy specifically because I want it to pair perfectly with the Big Men on Court because I'm a nerd and a dork and I got to take pictures like that. Just to close it out, we've got the Planet Metals in here. Where's the other Planet Metal? Is it not? I thought the other Planet Metal may be in tier 3. This Planet Metal is a little bit tougher pack odds. Did I just get this wrong? Yeah, I guess I did. Anyway, you got the 2 raves right here. Those are the serial number to 399 raves, not the super raves. Then you got obviously the 92 original beam team, the 95 beam team. Happy to have both of those. I've got all the beam teams in Gem Mint copies as well. And there's that White X, that PSA 9 Illuminator that we just looked at. That's it, guys. That's my tier 2. Next, we will look at tier 1. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's just one click away. So I will show you where I stand with tier 1 and how many of the tier 1 cards I have. Now, tier 1 is one where, I can't say totally, but usually you can throw a grade out the window if a copy arises. And we're going to talk in detail because a lot of the cards coming up in tier 1 that we're going to talk about that I don't have, that I do need, guys, they've just evaporated. They've just disappeared. It used to be you'd see a Playmakers Theater every once in a while. It used to be you'd see a Jambalaya every once in a while. It used to be you'd see, a Star Quest Gold every once in a while. Not anymore, man. You're just not seeing them come to market. The Legacy collections you're still seeing, but I've completed the 7 Legacy collections, so I'm good in that area. You'll never see a starting 5, and so that's just something you're gonna, me, everybody, even Nat Turner is gonna have to be okay with never having, probably, serial number to 5, hoop starting 5, another card we'll talk about when we get there. That's it, guys. Just want to give you an update on my tier 2 and where I'm at. Let me know what stands out to you. I am pretty proud of that second page. Let me go back real quick. That's a lot of gold X's right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19 out of 27 gold X is pretty tough to do in tier 2 on any particular page, and so still working on some of the others, but picking up BGS 9.5s and PSA 10s of the ones that I don't have X's on is going to be a pricey endeavor indeed, and not likely to occur. So X's are X's as it pertains to me and my pathway right now in tier 2 of the hierarchy. Thank you guys as always for watching. Let me know which cards stand out. Which cards are you also looking for? Which cards do you have? Obviously, we've got some of these. I'm looking to buy them. You know that. As long as the price makes sense. Thank you guys for watching as always. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. And peace.